Okay, in this 14b, I'm going to talk about how to symbolize complex noun and verb phrases. So let's look at complex noun phrases first. So complex noun phrases are tricky. Sometimes we'll have one determinative phrase composed of one quantity word and a complex noun phrase, and sometimes we'll have multiple determinative phrases. So we'll look at examples of both of these. So consider the sentence, "Every lonely novelist is a genius." So how shall we parse this sentence? Well, we can say the determinative phrase is every lonely novelist, because there's a noun phrase, there's a noun novelist, a noun phrase lonely novelist, and then a determinative phrase with the determinative word every attached to the noun phrase lonely novelist. And then we also have a verb phrase, is a genius. Now we go back to the determinative phrase, and we can divide that into the determinative word every, and that gives us this. We know that the determinative word has to give us the universal quantifier, and it gives us the conditional, and we know that the noun phrase is symbolized in the antecedent, and the verb phrase is symbolized in the consequent. So we can put in X is a genius down there, and we'll symbolize X is a genius as GX. Now we're not done parsing the English sentence, so the noun phrase here is every novelist, and so that's going to go in the antecedent. So we'll have X is a lonely novelist, and X is a lonely novelist will be symbolized as LX and NX. So the symbolization we get is for all X, if LX and NX, then GX. And I think that makes sense. If we say every lonely novelist is a genius, this says that each thing that is both lonely and also a novelist is also a genius. So each thing is such that if it's lonely and a novelist, then it's a genius. And that's what this says. For all X, if LX and NX, then GX. So typically when you have a complex, if you have one determinative phrase and a complex noun phrase, the complex noun phrase gets symbolized with a conjunction. So if we think of it like this, what this sentence says, we have the LX circle, that's the lonely things, and the NX circle, that's the novelist things. And what the sentence says is that everything in that in there is G. So if everything in there is G, is a genius, then the sentence is true. And if there are things in there that are not geniuses, then the sentence is false. And how do you get in there? You're in both LX and NX. So for all X, if LX and NX, then GX. And maybe there are geniuses elsewhere if this sentence is true, or maybe not. The sentence doesn't say. It says if you're in the intersection of LX and NX, then you're GX. And maybe there are GXs elsewhere as well. Okay, so that's one sentence. Let's consider a slightly different sentence. All males and females are human. So when we have this might look like, well, we have one determinative phrase, all males and females, and then a verb phrase are human. After all, we have only one quantity word. But what's actually going on here is there's a suppressed all. So what this sentence really is all males and all females are human. And what's going on here is that's all males are human and all females are human. So there's our and. And then all males are human. Well, we know how to symbolize that for all X. All females are human. We'll do that first for all X if FX then HX. And then all males are human for all X if MX then HX. So here, what looks like one determinative phrase actually turns into two, because there's a suppressed quantity word.